How you doing, everybody? Oh, good grief! You've been having a good time. Hey, Williams watches and Truth fears, and let's see who else is the usual suspects. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Stefan. How you doing? Okay. What an interesting conversation you guys have been having. All right. Hey, Geezer. TFG. I like my tea, but I drink coffee. Sadly. Okay. Williams, the formula is no longer for quality. Okay. All right. Hey, Crappy Luxury, how you doing? Dominic. Hey, Mark. I just got my tub of salted caramel ice cream out. Could someone please pay me to eat it? I don't. Oh. Hey, Ian, how you doing? Eddie, hi. I'm listening, but I'm busy doing something, so I can't type in the chat. Okay. I don't want to even speculate on that. Hi, Orange Hand. Okay. Sound and video are good. Great. I went through what I was supposed to. What I tried to do when I put out the announcement, instead of having a picture of the watch with the serpentine hands, it was a picture of me, and that's a goofy thing that YouTube does. So it wasn't me. Hi, Tim. How are you? Anyway, what I was doing when I started, I was printing out a picture. I had it, but I didn't have it in the right format for printing. This is what I tried. We have I got the Metropolis font and used it. And then I thought, well, instead of Breguet hands, this might look better with the serpentine hands. And serpentine hands were extremely difficult to find. I don't know why, but they are. And when you sort of Google up serpentine watch hands, you get a bunch of Bulgari watches that are called serpentine something or other for women, and they sort of crawl up your wrist like a snake. So anyway, so what do you guys think? Tadpole hands. Yeah, I see what you mean, tadpole hands. But they're called serpentine hands, even though they look like tadpoles with extremely long tails. I don't know. I somehow think that this seemed to fit better. What about the word Metropolis on there for the style? And again, a lot of these parts don't go together. Like I'm wondering about this case. I really like the case shape with the teardrop lugs, but I'm thinking, well, maybe we better rethink some of the style for the font, more like a Breguet file, or take a look at Kerry Wooten Lawnen's watches, because he integrates that style of case with the dials that he has. So anyway, what are you guys thinking about? Hi, NS something. I could live with a serpentine second hand, I think. Okay. Well, yeah, there's no second hand here. I didn't put in a second hand. And I just, it's something I wasn't thinking of so much anything other than, well, let's see what this looks like. Hey, Drone Tube, serpentine date hand on Blanc Pond Villeray looks awesome. Check it out. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that's one that I didn't look at. What I did is that my wife's Beauvais has serpentine hands, and so I went to Beauvais and finally just sort of did a general search of Beauvais watches and found the serpentine hands, and sort of glob them off of that and put them on this just to see what it would look like. Um, Gray hens and goats. How about a snake and a goat? Sort of like the Mexican flag. Have a goat with a snake in its mouth. How about some nice thin blued hands? That's another thing I thought of, like real thin sword hands or something like that. That might look good too. That's a good idea. Our we could try it in the with having the thin hands and then use a, serpentine hand, maybe with a different head to it for the second hand, because I think what we initially did was included a second hand, center seconds. Have serpentine alarm hand on a very old pole jet. Oh, really? Yeah, that would look cool. Serpentine hands go nicely on bovets, but that is an outlier. Well, I know it's an outlier. That's one of the things that, to make one that looks like a Rolex, you look at so many other brands and they all look like Rolexes, all of their sport watches do. I have no intention of trying to make, well, we have a choice that we can do whatever we want with a dial. Why make it look like anything else? Of course, it's going to be an outlier. What are we, conformists? Okay. Okay. Bruce likes a snake and a goat. We need blued brigade hands. Yeah, we had that. Here are the blued brigade hands. All right. I sort of like it too. I mean, with this style, we're sort of mixing a lot of stuff, I'm afraid. Well, anyway, the brigade hands go better with the case. Maybe we ought to consider a brigade dial. I found a company that makes various stone hands. I'll post it on HH Lounge. Okay, thank you. Stone dials, not hands. Yeah, isn't that the one that we were talking about this morning? It had the nice thin jade dials. Oh yeah, that's the one. Okay, great. Can we have Mickey Mouse hands? Why would you want Mickey Mouse hands? With the gloves and everything? Brigade, okay. Sort of a brigade type of dial, I think, would go well with that. What I want to do is I want to make a dial with sort of this font for the numbers, and then the Metropolis font for the name of the watch. It'll be a Metropolis, and Bruce can make a special one with snakes and goats. It's not jade, but they do have other kinds. Okay, yeah, I'd like to see him. He wants to play Minnie Mouse. Okay. There would be well, I don't have a picture of it. That crazy robotic woman they had wasn't that the guy had built in Metropolis, and have her hands doing the thing like Mickey, do it that way. Okay. All right, let's see what else is going on. I heard that there was a change of leadership at Vaucher. They have a new VP in charge of something or other, and he changed a bunch of things and raised the prices. They love to do that. How about a style similar to Moser's hands? Those are called, and I'm going to say it wrong in French, fuel hands, something like that. But what they mean are leaf hands. And I like those, Mark. Those might look really good with this with a Metropolis type of dial. I'll try those. Yeah, they would look very cool. Uh, let's see if I've got one. I've got on my Harry Winston today. This would be a great case with the Metropolis. Not a chance of getting this case, but it would really, I mean, it would fit in well. It has sort of that Art Deco industrial look of the 20s and 1920s. The 20s were in the 20s, except the 2020s. Good grief, the 20s, 100 years ago. Jeez. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Man, I tell you, something, they must have made some really good wine for you there. You sound like you're having fun with Mickey Mouse. Okay, better to have a snake than Mickey and Minnie. Oh, make one of those Sven Anderson watches with Mickey and Minnie. And if you don't know about Sven Anderson watches, don't ask. I'll put it that way. Look like some of the old, God, who did that weird stuff? I forgot. They were back in the 60s. They had some really raunchy things with all the Disney characters. Wish it was stainless. Oh, I like this one. I like it in gold. There's something, it has a certain Harry Winston decadence to it that I really like. This is a fun watch. It really is. And it has bio retrograde hands on it with the design by Agenor. Love that watch. Hey, Fim, you need, oh boy, did I miss anything? Yes, you did. Furnace UD. I haven't heard from Rolf, and let's take a look, see if I got anything that just came in. Nope, not yet. You know, Rolf is usually pretty good about, well, he isn't pretty good, come to think of it. You know, he'll answer me and like it was like I just sent it yesterday, and it's like a month later. On the other hand, if I don't send him something back immediately, he says, "Well, I haven't heard from you in a long time. You know, what's going on?" I think it's, oh God, I don't know. My kids are home every day now. My sense of humor has devolved a bit. Not at the 2-year-old level like Mark, so that's, I tell you, I've got this friend in San Diego. We used to, she was a colleague for 15 years and a very good friend. And she keeps sending me all of this stuff. And I mean, there's all kinds of humor from the quarantine and the pandemic. And and I think that people, if I were stuck with my kids at a certain age, I'd probably be going nuts, if not in jail, one of the two. Actually, though, you know, when my kids were growing up, it worked out pretty well. I had no door on my study, so if they wanted to see me, they could come in, and they did. And you know, but usually I was pretty boring. He did this. All right. Thanks, Mark. Let's see. Did you ever email Kadoki? No, I didn't. I think Bruce, I tell you why. I'm really not that interested in his movements compared to the UWD movements. Okay. The UWD movement to me is about as good as it gets. It really is. for a hand wound movement. His are fine, but there isn't any of the kind of sort of those bell-shaped bridges that Marco Lang put in the UWD 31.1 and 31.2. And it's like, if somebody would like to, say, hey, I think it'd really be cool to have that. I did contact Marco Lang and ask him if he had any in his new batch that he's making. And he said, no, he didn't. And he suggested UWD, which is, I thought was pretty cool. So it's Kadoki. I think there was his is an interesting one. In fact, I may even buy one of his watches. But for making the kind of watch, I don't see it. But if you do, contact them too and say, hey, look, I'm interested in buying one of your movements. And I may be wrong about everything on that, but I just thought, nah. Since the lockdown in the UK, domestic violence has gone up. Yeah, that I'm not surprised at all. Things happened here too. They don't talk about it a lot, but the same thing, it's like, people just get upset. Hi, Brendan, how you doing? Kadoki is more classic German with a 3/4 plate. UWD is more modern. You see more of the movement, sexier movement. That's a nice way of putting it. I also I really have a lot of admiration for Marco Lang. The thing I like so much about Lang is he's not a very good businessman because he's so dedicated to the craft. And I realize that you gotta have some business savvy. What happens in a lot of these deals, and I think happened to him with Lang and Hein, is that he goes in and he's working on something, and this guy's putting a lot of money in it and is expecting to make money. And I mean, you might as well put it into a diamond mine or something. It's just going into the watch business. I don't see it as a lot of stuff has to go right, and you have to do everything right. Otherwise, I mean, there's so many different ways that businesses, especially with luxury watches, just go sideways. It's hard to imagine. Having a good businessman, sometimes a good businessman who really knows business, or a businesswoman, they know about certain parts of it, but they don't understand another part. Like, to me, I think understanding watch collectors is very difficult if I were selling watches, because on one hand, you have people going in so many different directions, and most watch companies have something. Well, we got a little sports watch. Here we have some ladies' watches. Here we have some dress watches. And every one of those things, all of you know what we've been going through to make one simple watch. And I think it's good for us to understand that, because I think we can understand a lot more about the watch business by doing this. And I've got every intention of going ahead and making a watch with some movement. And I really want to have, one like this, or maybe more like this. Maybe rethinking that idea of what Mark said, having some, they're called, it's a French word for leaf. They're leaf hands, and they're just sort of like, hey, Forbin, how you doing? Regarding domestic tranquility, if you see your spouse order a shovel, it may be time to apologize. Yeah, they had, I got this list today. Let me see if I have it here. I haven't thrown it out already. Let me see. No, I guess wait. So, there we go. Okay, this is for help. It says how to speak to women during the quarantine. They have four ways. One's dangerous, one's safer, one's safest, and one's ultra safe. For example, a dangerous one would be what's for dinner. A safer one would be, can I help you with dinner? The safest, would you like delivery for tonight? And the ultra safe is, here, have some wine. And that's it for all of them. You know, just here, have some wine. That'll settle most of the issues. We don't have any wine. I worked very hard. I worked for a very bad businessman early in my career. It was thrilling to never know when payroll would bounce. The getting laid off on Christmas Eve was cool too. I tell you, there are some. Oh, I don't want to go into my bad businessman stories. I helped this guy make $1 million. In fact, several million, and the guy knew how to take success and flush it down the toilet. I mean, I tell you, this is why is that if I like small businesses, usually involving me and, working with other people who are independents. And that way, you minimize your maximum losses. When I first started a publishing company, I had a bunch of money left over from another thing, and so I spent it all wrong, did everything wrong, but I learned a lot. And you sort of do that. But I hate the idea of handling money for other people, or because in doing so, you have a whole chain of events that you're depending on. And for everything to go right all the time is a pipe dream. It just doesn't. And something as elusive. So I think what people see is they see these, like a $20,000 watch. They know that they can make it for $5,000, and they're thinking, oh man, $15,000 every time I sell one of these. This is great. But of course, when you have a lot of other people thinking the same thing, and you end up spending all your money on marketing or something like that, it's just not. I think that the internet, though, I am convinced, and I think I'm going to write some of these guys and tell them why let me tell you one of the worst websites, and I'll tell you why. And SFP's Yarns. Now, I'm probably pretty sure everyone knows I really like their watches a lot. But on their website, they have a number of things that make it hard to find a watch that you're looking for. The descriptions of the watches are all in all caps. Anybody who writes in all caps, other than screamers on the internet, are in trouble. But the reason for having ascenders and descenders in fonts is so you can read it. It makes it easier to read. But I guess he's got this thing. Well, I'm going to put it in all caps. Some of the web developers are idiots when it comes to this. They have no sense of information design. They have great graphic design. They have this and that. But man, I tell you, they're more interested in doing it. I've done it myself. I mean, they're interested in the dancing baloney. Oh, I can make your watch do this, and all kinds of stuff like that. But that doesn't, that's maybe fun once. If you go back to a website 2 or 3 times and it has this big, long, stupid introduction that, jams up your web page, that's crazy. But they do it, and they do it again and again and again. They're nice to look at, but you're not there to look at a website. You're there to look at watches. And this is what they don't understand. And they have nice, clear descriptions. I mean, one of the Rolex has a mediocre web page. It's not awful. I'll put it that way. That's about the best I can say about most of them. Is they're not awful. You go on to first of all, to find the Rolex you want to look at, it's like, where's Waldo? And then once you find it, and you have to go through a series of things to pick the watch you want. Another big mistake they make, this is crazy. they make it difficult to download their images. I say, wow, we paid an artist a lot for this, and they slap their what is it, the watermarks all over it. They're missing the point. They miss the entire point. If a bunch of watch nuts download one of their images and slap it on 200,000 watch pages, that gets the information out there. But what they're thinking is that the only way someone's going to find out about their watches is if they go to their watch company. They act like they control the information. They don't. It's you go to one site and they're talking about a watch and they hate it, and you go to another site and they're talking about the same watch and they love it. All right. But most people aren't going to go to too much trouble unless it's something like the Panerai 318 to download something and show it to everybody, unless they like it. I don't know. It's just it seems that they're sort of backed up. Yeah, Mega's website's terrible. That's the other thing too, is that if you make a website, make sure that it works with Chrome, with Safari, with the major ones, and keep it simple. I mean, you can have a gorgeous shot of your watch that you're trying to sell. You can have some beautiful gal, wearing a lady's watch. You can have a real handsome guy with a guy's watch, or successful, or some guy who's rugged. I happen to like Filson shirts, not because they got these guys out there chopping wood and everything. It's not because of that. But I mean, the guys chopping wood should have G-Shocks on or something like that. But they act as though nothing has changed. There's nothing changed. Patek Philippe. To me, they sound their logo, or their what do they call that? Their line, their some line, their logo line. You don't own one. You pass it on to junior. Once you bribe his way into Harvard, then you can. He's going to have the right watch for it. Some websites have a few models scrolling at the top, and then trying to get past that without knowing a secret handshake can be near impossible. That's true. That's another thing too. One of the things that we used to have was that and we used to deal with real clients, okay? And the clients, they'd want something, they would say, okay, now what do you want to do? They wouldn't know. They I don't know. I guess I just want a website, And so we had the amount of work you have to do is incredible to get a client squared away on that. And man, I tell you, I think there's nothing about it that's easy, and then you get some geek out there, they don't know very much about fonts, and you have to have an artist, you got to have a programmer, you got to have everybody working together. And if they don't, if they say, well, I don't want to have that kind of graphic look because it's going to be too hard to program. We're going to put everything in Times New Roman and Arial. It's just crazy. Really, it's and then we want to have animation in there because fun to do. I don't know. I guess that's sort of a rant I didn't want to have, but I did anyway. Oh, hey, Forbin, before Flash video and faster connections, websites were static like brochures. I wish we'd go back to that simplicity. It seems close-up fonts, black and back and side, overproduced, and intro video is old. Yeah, I know. There's a book, one of the best books I've ever seen on how to make a website. Is called Don't Make Me Think. All right. It's really what you should do with a website. you don't want the person who's trying to find watches go through some long blathering thing. Also, too, I think it's a big mistake to every one of them talk about how passionate they are. The reason they are all using passion is that they don't have anybody creative. They look at this other guy's website and they say, you better say passionate. So they all have passionate, which is, you look at that of, this is why I think so many people like the hijinks at Edouard Melon of H. Moserpold with the Swiss cheese watch and the icon watch, and he comes up with all of these crazy things. His little series about trying to figure out for an advertising campaign, I don't know if you've seen those or not. Those are more fun, but they're videos. That's another thing too. You got to be careful about using a video. Oh, you got this beautiful video, and some guy has went to cinema school or something, and so they have this watch. It's like going through the whole thing. You seen it once, okay, that was interesting. I've taken slow motion videos trying to get my resonance watches working together. What I really should spend time doing is get a file, get a good file and file them down so I can get them within resonance level of each other. If certain things used sparingly can be very effective, but they have to be using sparingly and once it's over, move on. I understand why companies don't like their images used elsewhere. Yeah, Rod, you're right. That's what I'm to figure out. Oh, well, we paid for it. We got a lawyer and he we did this. On the other hand, if I had a watch, if I started a watch company, I would make it very easy to steal. As soon as somebody came up, they could click it and it would say either copied image or download image. And it would be in JPEG. They have this thing now called JPEG 2. And if you download JPEG 2, you can't upload it somewhere else. And I think that somebody said, somebody in the legal department was doing the thinking for them, and the people in marketing weren't thinking at all, and so they don't have much of a chance. They don't understand how social media works, and the people that do come out much better. I've seen these political things. It says, "Oh, look at this video, and this will tell you everything." I'm not going to look at a video. I'll look at some meme and laugh at the guy who I don't like. And the same thing is true with watches. You're going to sell watches. You can have somebody with a good-looking wrist and a good-looking watch, and maybe Patek Philippe with their this is for rich people, and if you're not rich, we can save your money. Use your kid's college fund to buy a watch. I don't know. It's really weird. Let's see. Yeah, great videos, but most haven't been viewed. Yeah. Yeah, right, Foreman. Oh, the passion. We're not in business. We're artists. A lot of them, it's how simple-minded must they view watch collectors? Is that we're saying, well, we want someone who's a real watch collector and is passionate about it, like Philippe Dufour. That's what we want. So, well, we'll see. We're passionate, and they'll buy it. Some may, I don't know. Some people may, oh boy, those guys are passionate. And these other guys are like, somebody put out, look, we're in the business to make money. We're not gonna have much advertising. We're gonna let you pirate everything we've got so you can put it up on your websites. That's how we're gonna get known. We're gonna give you good prices. That would be one way to really sell watches. And we're gonna be honest about it. I think Opium is gonna do well because of that. They use top quality stuff all the way through their watches. Their movement is okay. It's not a rocket to the moon, but it's not an ETA, or it's not it's this unusual one. And they're in cahoots with Festina somehow, and they're doing it well, I think. Uh, so they I think are going to do well. And if you go to their website, boy, you can look at that watch and they've got every bitty piece to it. Now, to be frank about it, their hand that they're so proud of designing is okay, but you know, when it comes to lawyers, I'm with Shakespeare. Come on now. Our favorite lawyer is not here. Okay, so we don't want to talk out of turn. Now, there may be several unfavorite lawyers here today, but not our favorite lawyer. Haven't bought anything with an adventurous theme since Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Cousteau was sort of a cool one. Now that for selling certain kinds of watches, I guess that so many of the really rich are such jerks that someone says, "Well, so and so's a millionaire. He's a jerk. I don't want that watch." But this is the kind of thing. If you buy a watch and you're trying to prove something, you're not what you're trying to prove. Okay, if you buy a watch because of everything about it has a quality you like or something unique about it, that's to me is the kind of watch that's fun to get. Our tagline: we're above all of the passionate watch companies. We're pretentious because we're good at what we do. Choose pretentious watch. No, that's pretentious watchmakers. We have no talent whatsoever. We take other people's parts, put them together, and we save a bundle. We can do for $100 what it costs those suckers 5,000 to do. And to some extent, that turns out to be true. When you look too close, it's silly for companies to claim real divers use precious metal dive watches or even more plain $5,000 divers. Forbin Colossus, I went to a dive shop just to see what was in there. They had none of these favorite divers. Most of them, in fact, all of them, they were either quartz or smartwatches. And the smartwatches, were really smart for diving. And I think, the guys who write about divers, like in Hodinkee and some of these other online magazines, they're pretty realistic about it. They talk about desk divers. And if I got a diver, it's a desk diver because I've got no plans on going under because I may not come up. Yeah. What's the most unique watch in your opinion? Mark, I tell you, after this is over, I'm uploading what I think is the most unique watch. Okay, and it's called the watch that never was, but it was some, and so that's what it's one of those little vest pocket things. That's what I like about vest pocket videos. I can have fun with something that most people don't understand. Most favorite complication is remontoid egalite. Quartz divers are standard for diving community, more reliable. Yeah, you've got to have a reliable. If you're going down, you don't want to take a good watch with you. I mean, in terms of like what a good desk diver watch is. I don't know. I don't know of anyone. Do you know of anyone that actually goes diving with a Rolex Submariner? Now, on the other hand, a Doxa, get a big old orange Doxa. If you get eaten by a shark, they'll find a Doxa. Those are the kind I like. IWC diver had a backside with a piece of wood from Costu's Calypso. Not too sure about that, but he was legit and a boyhood hero of mine. Yeah, he was. I tell you, mine too. Jacques Cousteau was really. I used to watch his programs all the time. Now his stuff was really interesting. Hey Andrew, what's up? People who dive with a Rolex must think Rolex as a beater watch. Yeah, I don't know. The only time to dive with a Rolex, I think, are some of these other watches. If you're drunk and fall overboard, I've talked to a lot of pilots. Most pilots you know, they got there. Some of them have good pilot watches, I guess. You know, to me, the one of the best pilot watches is a GMT Master or a anything with a dual time on it that's easy to look at. And you can, you know, I tell you, the Parmigiani Hemispheres is a great dual timer for pilots. So anyway, Doc's a sub is a real diver. Yeah, there you go. An orange one too. It's got to be orange. Hey, listen, guys, I've gone over again, and thank you all for coming today. We sort of got off on all kinds of things, but hey, Pedro, you got here. I tried to greet everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Anyway, everybody stay safe and take care.